sir. So, back to the lockout. When it comes to, I'm gonna let you really run with this. What you got for me? Will race play a factor in how the players are viewed? Because out of the two of us, you're the one that you will be the first one. I was to Jack to throw up that race card. I'll play it. I'll play it. You will slap that race card down quick. I think it's always been obvious, and whether people want to admit it or not, it's always been obvious that the coverage of the NBA has always been biased, and that's based on the fact that it's young black guys, young black men, tattoos, hip hop generation, whatever you want to call them, that people feel don't deserve what they have.
Thuggery.
Thugs, exactly. You hear the term thug thrown around a lot. You always hear, oh, they're not playing team basketball. It's so much one-on-one. The players are selfish. But the European brand of basketball is so great. Like when Duke and Butler played last year in the national title game. That was an awful game. You know, but it was great for basketball because you had Duke versus Butler, two teams, traditionally white teams going at it. But if you look at the lockout, and I'll even go a step further. Remember when they implemented the draft age requirement? And there was so much outcry, and they're saying, oh, the players need this, the players need to go to college, the players need this. And it was just so much venom spewed towards the players, saying they're not prepared. But then people would say, okay, well, look at tennis, look at baseball. Those guys don't have to go to college. And it's always just been a backlash. It's been almost a resentment towards the young black men that play NBA basketball.
Ev? I mean, James hit it. He hit it on the nail. I mean,
race card. Just,
I mean, it almost always. You know, I don't want to say always, but you know,
it feels like it.
You know, you can always. You know,
you can find a way to tie.
I mean, in basketball, I mean, it's one of the most visible sports that's out there. I mean, you know, it's unlike football. You know, you got on all the equipment, you got on helmet. I mean, basketball, you know, the lights on, everybody can see. You know who you are from the star to the the 15th man on the on the roster, and it's every time you can just you like you say you can feel like the backlash, like when when you read, if you ever read some of the comments on the articles on ESPN, just take a minute and read like the comments afterwards.
No, I don't read the comments. No.
Go ahead and read that.
Hey, the comment section on any blog, YouTube, is sponsored by the Ku Klux Klan. That's brought to you by the real boys in the hood. I was saying, if you want to say racism is dead, go to a comment section, because sometimes the article has nothing to do with race. All it takes is one person to throw it out there, and it's a wrap.
It's over with.
So my thing is this: if you play devil's advocate, the reason why I think that the players are going to get destroyed in this situation, rather than in how the NFL situation is looked at as more like the owner's fault, or that the owners are being greedy, is that you hear this a lot. You hear, oh my God, the owners are only making are losing money. 22 out of the 30 teams are in the red. But then now you're hearing the players want a boost. They want an increase in the amount of money they're making. Like in the third year of the deal, they want $7 million, and they're already making an average of $5 million, which is the most out of any sport in the league. So you're hearing things like that, which is making it seem like that the players don't care if the owners are not making any money. They just sound like, man, we want to get ours.
Listen, the NBA has hands down the most marketable stars in the world. And that's not even up for debate. They have the most marketable stars in the world. When you think of the NBA, you think of LeBron James, you think of Kobe Bryant, you think of Dwight Howard, you think of Dirk Nowitzki. You think of stars, you think of players. When you think of the NFL, you think of teams. When you think of Major League Baseball, you can't even name a player. Who's a superstar right now in Major League Baseball?
Outside of your regular Pujols.
He's not even a superstar. What have you seen an Albert Pujols commercial? When have you seen Albert Pujols on like Letterman?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It hasn't been one since. I was gonna say it hasn't been one since the Jeter A-Rod.
Exactly, and that's because they speak English. We relate to people that sound like us, that look like us. The only problem is in the NBA, they're the most NBA players are just the most hated athletes on the planet. People view NBA players as just a bunch of guys from the hood that didn't work hard for anything were given everything. They don't see the hours that they spend in the gym. Like last year, I remember when they were talking about trading Carmelo Anthony. They made Carmelo Anthony sound like he was a backup 2 guard for the Washington Generals. All of a sudden, he couldn't even play.
Right.
You know, and then the same talk with LeBron James. Oh, he needs to do this, that, and the third in the offseason. LeBron James probably works harder than 95% of the people in the world.
Right.
But because he's working hard at basketball, they don't consider that working hard. So it's a lack of respect paid to the NBA players. And so that's going to come across in the way the fans view it. And in my opinion, the NBA players have all the leverage in this lockout.
How so?
Because if LeBron James doesn't play, if Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, if you don't have the Miami Heat, if you don't have Dwight Howard, if you don't have stars in the NBA,
right,
nobody's going to pay attention. But that's why they're constantly looking for the next Michael Jordan, because they need a star. The NBA needs stars to survive. Well, I watch the NFL with replacement players and wouldn't care. The NBA needs stars.
That's true. You find yourself, I think UFL was on TV one time,
and you watch it. It's football.
It's football.
It's football.
You don't even care who it is. When XFL was out, watched it. Didn't care.
The Bears haven't had a quarterback for how long?
And we die hard.
And we'll die hard and we'll watch.
So you telling me you ain't checking for the CBA if they get a TV deal?
No, man. No, I'm not. No. I mean, they've had TV deals.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. We've got League Pass at home on DirecTV.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many times have you watched I'm trying to think of a team. Did you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers play? Would you watch the Cleveland Cavaliers play against the Sacramento Kings?
Nope.
But I guarantee you would watch the Houston Texans go up against the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
If an NFL game is on,
you're watching it.
People are going to watch. It could be the 2 worst. It could be the Oakland Raiders versus the Detroit Lions. People are going to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's NFL football. But if it's not a star playing in the NBA, they're not on TV. Lakers, Miami, Chicago, we're on TV every night.
Yeah,
every time I turn on TNT on Thursday, Lakers, preceded by the Heat.
By the Heat, yeah, exactly.
Every night.
Because the thing is, but I can give the NBA this past season was probably the first time in a long time where you could watch. There was a lot of teams that you could watch. Yeah. I remember when I remember like Golden State would play a few. If a Golden State game was on, I'd watch it.
You check it out.
I want to see what Monte and what Stephen Curry was going to do. Sacramento, even the Sacramento Kings, you want to see DeMarcus Cousins, you want to see Tyreke Evans. Even though we
killed him last week. But I mean, it's almost hypocritical of David Stern. You build these guys up, and he doesn't sell teams. David Stern markets individuals. He markets stars, and now these stars want to get paid. Now these stars that he's marketed and he's built up as larger than life, they realized their power last offseason. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, they realized the influence that they have and that they can control the league because it is a star-driven league.
But what's so wrong about them taking less money? Like, if you really think about it,
because the NBA just had its most profitable year ever last year.
You still have teams in the red.
It doesn't matter.
How do we fix it?
It's always going to be.
But how do you fix it?
You can't in the NBA. You can't, because the NBA is the only league in the world where one player can make a huge difference. And every team does not have that one player. The NBA has never been a competitive league.
But here's the thing, man. When you have that many teams, something has to be done. The reason why this lockout, I think, is going to take forever, because I remember Player X said this might take up 2 seasons. You know what I'm saying? Is because because the thing is, this is a 3-part situation here.
I mean,
you have the rich owners and you have the poor owners. Poor meaning, not as rich as the rich ones, is that they have to figure out how they want this money to be worked. So the poor owners want
parity.
They want parity. Yeah. They want revenue sharing. They want all that. Rich owners, I don't need that. We're good.
Yeah.
So they have to fix that in between themselves before they even deal with the players.
Well, that's not a player's problem. That's mismanagement of money. That's poor scouting. That's poor drafting.
Yeah.
That's poor decisions and trades. Like, those are issues that the players have no control over. If you go back and you look at the drafts, teams that do well draft well. Teams that do bad don't draft well. They end up paying guys like John Salmons, Drew Gooden, Corey Maggette. They end up paying those guys obscene amounts of money that they don't need. Guys like Travis Outlaw, guys like Amir Johnson. When you're paying those guys top money, that's not the player's fault. That's scouting. That's the owner. That's the general manager. The owners have to do a better job of managing their money, and they have to do a better job of evaluating talent.
I think the tough thing about it, and I'm looking at it, I'm trying to look at it through the owner's eyes, is that when you're trying to build a good team,
you have to pay somebody. Somebody has
Somebody good.
Somebody
good. Why are you paying Drew Gooden? Why are you paying John Salmons? Why are you giving Amir Johnson $6 million?
That in their head is like they have to spend the money.
You spend it on me. Like, if you're just gonna give out $6 million, give it to somebody that's actually done something in the league.
But here's the thing. Like I said, who's going to Toronto? No one's going to Toronto unless you're getting paid to go.
They're gonna get paid to go, but pay good players.
Because look at who.
All right, it's not even that. You can pay Amir Johnson, you can pay Travis Sallow, you can pay Mike Conley, but don't overpay him.
Because you set the bar.
That's what the problem is.
You setting the bar for because now other bad players are like, well, you getting paid that much.
Why are you giving Mike Conley $48 million when you're bidding against yourself?
Yep.
Like nobody else could offer him a contract. You could have gave him a fair low deal. He ain't done nothing.
And either take it or leave it.
And he can take it, and if he says no, then you move on. He can be replaced. Don't pay replaceable players obscene amounts of money.
Yeah, that's the. I mean, the owner. That's like
I'm telling you, man. Owners are just scared. I'm telling you, they are scared. They are scared that okay, if he goes, we're not gonna be able to.
But you can't be scared and give a player, a $60 million deal, and then 2 years later and say, sign, legal contracts, binding, and now you want the players to say, oh, okay, well, I think we made a mistake, and we want you to, we want you to take a pay cut.
Real quick, what about 2-year guaranteed contracts, a 4-year deal? I mean, a 5-year deal, but only 2 years guaranteed, and then you can continue adding on guaranteed years, like negotiating that. What do you think about that?
No, because people already hate free agency now. Mm-hmm. People think free agency is bad for the game. You'll see more player movement, and people will be pissed off. You'll see more players leave. If there's a 2-year deal, I'd say okay.
No, I'm saying like let's say it's a 5-year deal, but the first 2 years are guaranteed, and then after the first 2 years, you can renegotiate how many more guaranteed years they get in the last 3 years.
So you want to give the owners that much control over the star players in the league?
I'm asking you, what do you think?
No, that'd be awful. That'd be awful. Teams in the NBA, certain teams are never going to compete for a championship. It's the way it is.
When we come back, we're going to talk about some of these free agents that opted out of their contract, and we'll decide whether or not it was dumb deals or good deals. When we come back, it's the booth of Big Ned and Jay Lee.
ChicagolandSportsRadio.com.